Hi, welcome to the October Missouri Evergreen Circulation Committee meeting. And if you haven't done so already, if you can go ahead and put your name and your library location in the chat, that helps us know who was here. And hopefully everybody can see the agenda there. So to go ahead and get started, did anybody have anything they wanted to bring forward outside of the committee members that wasn't on the agenda for the public comment section? Okay, hearing none. We'll go ahead and go on to, I just left a placeholder in here for the Missouri Evergreen User Conference wrap up. It was held as the pre-conference before the MLA conference in St. Louis. We had a large amount of people signed up. Unfortunately, that didn't translate to a large amount of bodies in the room. But for those of us that were there, I think it was valuable. It was somewhat preaching to the choir of individuals there, but it gave us a good opportunity to understand how that kind of training would work. The emphasis going forward is likely to become regional trainings at spots throughout the state that would be easier for people to get to. So Shannon, I believe, is going to be sending out a survey. So you want to keep an eye out for that to kind of give your input on what kind of trainings would be useful for you in your library. So I'm going to stop talking for the moment here. So if anybody wanted to give some feedback on that or their experience at the users conference, it's definitely welcome. Okay, we are a quiet bunch today. To give you guys an update, the courier situation that has been ongoing with the issues of items ending up in the postal service for some unknown possessed reason was discussed at the membership meeting. I wanted to give the highlights of that here for those who might not have been able to make that meeting. So Jane from Mala was present at the meeting, and she said that the way the system works is they contract with Henry as a courier overall. Henry contracts with what is called a master courier for the different hubs, who then hire independent contractors who run the routes. So there's very many layers of bureaucracy in there, and Mala does not directly run HR or anything for the couriers that come through. They're responsible for the Henry contract. Henry is responsible for contracting out to the master couriers, who are then responsible for contracting for the independent route drivers. Recently, the St. Louis master courier broke their contract without much notice, so they're working on getting a new contract for that hub, and the affected library should have been notified for that. And if you are in a situation where you are incurring any kind of postal fees for these items that are coming through the courier system with the postage, Mala wants you to go ahead and report that on that same form that you report any kind of Mala issues. Just choose the other choice. Mala will reimburse you for any postal expenses that you are incurring. They don't need any documentation or anything like that unless you're getting like $50, $75 of postage, but anything that's in the lower postage range, they'll cut you the check just based on the reporting on the form. Ron did add the reporting form to the homepage of the Missouri Evergreen website to make that easier for people to locate as well. They did stress to basically report. I know a lot of people probably feel like they're kind of talking into the wind and not seeing anything happen, but Mala needs that documentation, and any information you can give on where the items were transiting from, the time frame, that kind of stuff is useful to them for being able to identify where the potential problems are. Mala's role is to document it all, to advocate for us getting the service that we're paying for. If you are losing days that you have paid for, make sure that you're reporting that to Mala as well, because part of what they do to Henry, if things are not as they should, is not pay them for services that were not delivered. So you want to make sure that you're not paying for a service that Henry didn't get paid for, if that makes any sense. The contract with Henry is up in spring of 2022. Since it is a taxpayer funded situation, like most everything we have to do in library land, it will be bid out. And contact Jane at Mala directly. Like I said, if you're missing any dates that you paid for, to make sure whatever kind of recompense that you can get for that, and that those dates are reported so they're not paying Henry for a service that didn't get delivered. So I know I just threw a lot at you, and you guys deal with the transit much more than I do. So if you have any questions or further information that you want me to dig up, just let me know now.
Thanks.
Okay, I must have gave the most awesomest explanation ever. For the new libraries that are coming on, just to give you the heads up, that Cedar County is going to go live on November the 4th. Reynolds County is going to go live on January 20th after the beginning of the year. And Reynolds County is currently not automated, but has 5 locations. They will be adding their items to the Evergreen records. And Nate, I saw that you were on a call. You may be able to explain better than anything I could do about how that might work. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but if you didn't mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard any updated plans on exactly what that process will look like. But from my understanding, yes, it does sound like we will have some catalogers as coming to assist, add some of those items to existing bibliographic records, and then setting aside items that maybe don't fit within our current holdings.
Thanks, Nate. So that will be an interesting transition from being totally not automated to being automated for how that goes down. And just a reminder that we are scheduled to upgrade to version 3.7 in April of 2022. There is an Equinox demo for that floating around. So if you haven't seen that in your email, just shoot me a note and I'll make sure to get that sent to you as well. Okay, anybody have any questions about that stuff? Okay. Hearing none, the ongoing projects, the damaged items best practice working group, fall has kind of gotten away from me. So I've been gathering information from other libraries for how their policies and systems work. So I will be getting that group together to kind of go through what I've discovered and see what might work best for us. In the course of the last month and a half or so, it has kind of come up that we might need to add some clarity or put some more information out about the actual process of the billing between libraries. So Rhonda wasn't able to attend the meeting, but she asked Dan to share the Cass County procedures for it for the timing. And I quite honestly don't deal with this part of this very much. So I'm going to put the screen up here and kind of talk through it a little bit, but feel free to interrupt me or add more information for those who deal with this all the time. So let me change it up to this one. Okay, so these, what you're seeing on your screen here is Cass County specific because it's their documentation. But just to kind of go through with it, that there's many different scenarios for the Evergreen billing. So if your library's item is damaged by another Evergreen library's patron, then that Evergreen library is supposed to contact you, and then you will mark the item damaged because the system will not let other libraries mark things damaged that don't belong to them. And then it details the invoicing process there. The other thing that has come up is, my computer not letting me scroll. If you receive an Evergreen item from your patron that is damaged, for what the steps are for that, whatever your internal forms and documentation are is there with it, but the key is that you won't be able to mark that item damaged, so you need to contact the lending library. And we'll talk in just a second about the contact list that has been updated as well too. They will mark it as damaged on their end, and you have those communications about whether or not to keep the item on hand or to send it back, and saves the courier stuff as well with it. So I just kind of wanted to bring that forward as well with it too. And I can share this when I share the meeting minutes in a more timely fashion, hopefully this month. So I didn't know if anybody wanted to add feedback discussion or anything like that. I think what we have on the website as a whole might not be as clear as this Cass County documentation. So there might be an opportunity to go ahead and add some more information there. But you guys deal with it a lot more than I do, so I'll hush and see what your thoughts are. Okay, hearing crickets, we'll go with the that we brought it forward and the information is out there. And then I will touch base with Ron about possibly adding this documentation as well to the website, just to have that available for some further clarity for people, if that seems to make sense to the group at large. Okay, silence implies consent. We're gonna go ahead and take it forward. Let me go back to my other one. Okay, you guys back on the agenda or still seeing anything? Yeah. Sure. Okay, and then Linda was working on checking and updating the contacts list on the website, so I'll let her let you guys know where that stands. I believe it's almost done.
Thanks, Meredith. I hope you guys can hear me. Meredith asked somebody from the committee to do something on the contacts list. I took it a step further because I guess I'm an overachiever and I don't have enough to do. But I've contacted almost every library on the contacts list. The contacts have not changed yet. I literally just emailed that to Ron and Meredith yesterday. I have about 5 or 6 people that I am trying to contact to make sure that the circulation contacts are up to date. I am just dealing with circulation contacts. I'm not touching cataloging or anything like that. So if you haven't heard from me, you're going to hear from me in the next 3 to 4 days, I hope. If not, we have a problem with your contact information. We're going to fix it. But that's really where we're at. I have nothing else, Meredith. That's it.
No, you have awesome amounts of effort and information. And it's a good reminder to keep an eye on that page as well too, as staff changes and needs changes, because that's your point where people are going to try and reach you if your items are damaged. So sometimes that can be where a communication issue can occur if they can't find you. And some of the letter codes were a little bit off too. And I've got to do that items that are stuck in transit report that I have to send people, and then trying to figure out which library is which is entertaining. Okay, and the other ongoing project we had was the staff permissions. We talked about a little bit at the last meeting that Evergreen comes with a standard set of staff permissions that seem kind of wonky based on what we want people actually to do. Diane and Nate are working on that project together. And so if anyone does have a burning interest in being involved in that small working group, just let Nate or Diane know. Otherwise, they're going to kind of move it forward and then pull people in as needed for that. Okay, and then we're down to the other. Did anybody have anything they wanted to bring forward to the group while we're here? If not, I'll continue with my long stance of 15-minute meetings. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, thank you guys very much, and I will do my best to get this recording and minutes out in a more timely fashion. That October disappeared on me, so hopefully I will get these out shortly for you. And then
Meredith.
Oh, I hear someone.
Sorry, I think someone put in chat that they had a question.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Do hubs affect holds? They are working towards proximity holds, and I don't believe that is fully implemented to my knowledge. Ideally, when that is all fully implemented, if you place a hold, it's going to target the libraries that are served by your hub as well. So the book travels less to get from here to there. So that would be where it affects holds. The other thing where it affects holds is if it has to transit from hub to hub to hub to hub, then it's going to take forever. Does that answer it? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay.
Meredith, I did have one question. I know you mentioned about the transit list that you were
Yes.
saying on working. I was actually going to email you on that. I was working on some of ours for our branches, and I'm trying to handle it for all 9 of our locations. And that becomes very tedious and a very large project. But I did notice that there's a lot of items belonging to other libraries that are still on our list. So I wonder if we need to kind of remind some libraries that they do need to do this on a regular basis and cancel the transits and delete the records if they need to be. Because I know we're not supposed to handle, we can't do anything with the other people's records, but, we kind of keep seeing them repeatedly on these lists.
Yeah, definitely. I can put that call out, and then I can share with you off list and the reporting that I've been using to generate what I send to the individual libraries, just to make sure that that's catching the entirety of what needs to be caught.
Right, because basically what I've done is try to find what we can find that are our items and then get a list together to email out to the libraries that have items that belong to them that are in transit to or from us. But, when we've got 50 plus libraries, sometimes that can take quite a bit to email everybody.
Okay, and just to make sure I have straight in my head, what you're talking about is the long-term transit.
Right.
That I send out is the canceled transit, and so we're doing 2 different things, but definitely good to tell people about that one as
Okay.
well. Okay. Yeah, and we've got that documentation on the larger list, so I can resend that documentation out about how to handle those as well too, and where to locate them.
Okay.
That's a good reminder. Okay, we made it a 16-minute meeting. Woohoo. Okay, anybody have anything further while we're all together? If not, I will see you next month. And then I believe we agreed to take December off as our other off month for this year. So we'll have one more before the end of the year. Okay, awesome. I set you guys free to go about your day. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Thank you, Meredith.